lot of things to unpack here. Let's start with what we call sunny day flooding. And that's flooding when we're not talking about snow melt or big storms, anything like that. We've seen more and more of it because of sea level rise. Now, the data shows that Atlantic City recorded 8 sunny day floods in 2007. Now, that number could increase to 34 by 2030 and 120 days by 2050. I mean, think about that for a second. That would be a sunny day flood about every 1 in 3 days. You know, it's not just that, though. There's another problem that's in play here. According to researchers at the Department of Marine and Coastal Sciences at Rutgers, the land is sinking at the same time that the water is rising. You know, check out the research here. They found that New Jersey sea levels rose by 8.2 inches from 1979 to 2019. It's nearly twice as much as the global average, and they think that there is a 50% chance it's going to rise by another 1.4 feet by 2050. Now, in Ocean County, Stafford Township is doing something about it. They're using grants and capital funds to adapt to our changing climate.
We've helped about 600 people through either education projects or flood mitigation assistance grants that we've been able to get to elevate their homes.
Now, not only that, the money helped the township shore up stormwater and sewage systems. They also work with Rutgers on bioswale and rain garden to reduce runoff during the heavy rainstorms. And these efforts, well, they're paying off. The township earned a 25% discount on flood insurance premiums for all the folks that live there. Now, this isn't just a problem that's down the shore. Homeowners in a Southwest Philly neighborhood could be the first in the city to move out of their homes entirely because of climate change. Brandon Goldner takes it from here.
Along the banks of Cobb's Creek in Southwest Philadelphia's Eastwick neighborhood is an area known as the Planet Streets. With names like Mercury, Mars, and Saturn Place, this majority-black, economically challenged neighborhood is a microcosm of the decisions our planet will face because of climate change.
You see, I'm old school.
Brenda Whitfield,
oh my God,
is the block captain of Saturn Place. She moved here in the 1970s.
It was just sunshine, a breath of fresh air and sunshine.
But that sunshine didn't last.
Whew. And the sunshine went to rain. And when the sunshine went to rain, it was downhill all the way.
That rain began with Hurricane Floyd in 1999, the first of 6 storms in 24 years to flood her home.
The water always covers my washer, my dryer. If you can go up these steps, the water came as high, the third one from the top. That's my car.
That heavy rain brought a flood of questions.
We didn't know what was going on. So then we started learning.
Raised my family here.
Earl Wilson takes us to where neighbors learned the flooding originates. This section of Cobb's Creek.
You mentioned the fact that it looks so calm at this point in time, but you have to also remember that when certain factors are working in unison, it's not so calm at that point in time.
Drexel University professor Franco Maltato says those factors start with water from higher elevations upstream flowing down the creek.
When all that water comes down those creeks, the creeks can overflow their banks. And when they overflow their banks, it floods this low-lying community.
Downstream from here, Cobb's Creek eventually converges with Darby Creek before flowing into the Delaware River. If there's a high tide or storm surge from a hurricane, it can push the water back up into Eastwick.
So this particular community is sort of susceptible to flooding from both upstream and downstream.
And sea level rise could make Eastwick even more susceptible to flooding. Emissions from our cars and factories are changing our climate by trapping in the heat and making the planet warmer. That melts glaciers, causing water around the world to rise. Professor Maltato uses a staff gauge to show us how high Cobb's Creek could rise, about 4 feet.
Without any rain, you know, this is sort of where the water will be at an ordinary everyday high tide. That gives you a lot less depth here to play with in terms of incoming storm flows from upstream.
All right, bend down a little bit.
One solution to Eastwick's flooding problem, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is looking at potentially building a levee, an earthen embankment, along Cobb's Creek. But with sea level rise, Professor Montalto says a levee only addresses part of the problem.
It's less clear to me that the levee will be able to protect Eastwick from long-term changes in sea level.
The other possible solution, managed retreat, where the government buys out homeowners who then move to parts of the neighborhood at a higher elevation. The government will then tear down the homes, creating open green space to absorb water. Philadelphia Sustainability Director Liz Lankinow says part of the challenge is how these homes are designed.
The houses are all attached. Buyouts, if some people want to be bought out and others do not, that affects community cohesion.
Wilson says homeowners don't want to take any options off the table, but they have mixed feelings about moving.
A lot of the residents have indicated in surveys that we've taken that they like the area, don't really want to move.
The memories are here.
Whitfield says there's another complicating factor tied to this community's history: trust.
But what type of land is it? We need to know that we're safe and that this will be a good investment.
But it's more than just investing money for Eastwick's residents. It's investing in memories, a legacy. One of Whitfield's favorite memories is when the postman would come to her house.
And he like, this street is great, but these steps are a killer.
The steps to solve Eastwick's flooding problems are just as steep of a climb, but Whitfield says she'll always be looking for that sunshine.
When the rain comes, yes, there is anxiety. But when I don't get flooded and I see the sunshine, I still have faith.
That the solutions they're working on, whether it's a levee or moving to higher ground, will leave Eastwick's legacy stronger. Brandon Goldner, CBS News, Philadelphia.